So if Crawford doesn't get caught with any of his hard shots, I think Crawford wins the fight easily. Take the power away, it's a mismatch.
I don't see no one running. I think there's going to be trying to earn the respect. I think Crawford will win the fight on points.
It's interesting because I think that the only dynamic that makes this fight competitive, in my opinion, is the difference in weight class. I think Canelo has been, for a while, a diminishing fighter.
Canelo is comfortable in the weight. Bud is comfortable in the ring.
Remember when Roberto Duran fought Marvin Hagler? But Hagler just applied himself on him.
I'm probably a little bit biased because I love Canelo.
Yeah.
I do think he's going to win the fight, but again, I won't be surprised if Crawford does it.
Who do you think wins Canelo Crawford?
It's a hard fight.
I mean, you've shared the ring with both guys. What's their strengths and their weaknesses?
Look, I think with Crawford, you've got skill, power, and good movement, and he's very precise with his inches. Like, he works in inches, bro. Like, honestly, his footwork was like amazing. Box IQ, fantastic. Whereas with Canelo, I could hit him easier. Whereas with Crawford, I couldn't hit Crawford that easy. It was very hard, he was very loose, and he was very alert. He was alert to everything. Whereas with Canelo, I could catch him anytime I want, and I could hit him with some good shots. But the thing is, the power Canelo has, nowhere near Crawford has any of that power.
Really?
Yeah. So
and that's like, look, you understand this, Amir. You jumped through the weight divisions and you had your successful career. I know Terence Crawford is that fighter, a 4-weight world champion, but is it realistic that he can jump up 2 weights, or is it just good timing because Canelo might be there for the taking?
I think timing-wise, it's perfect because Canelo is not the fighter he was when I fought him 10 years ago, 12 years ago, whenever it was. But like, he's not the same type of fighter he was then. So, and if you look at his last couple of fights, he does get caught a lot, he gets hit a lot, and a good boxer like Crawford could beat him and could outbox him.
Can't wait for that, mate.
You know what I mean? So, and I think Crawford is not that careless that he's going to get caught with an open, clean shot, because he is hard to hit. Obviously, I was different when I put myself in that position. I was very different because I was that type of fighter that used to have too much balls and go into war, have too much heart, and I get caught, and you know I'm going to get caught. But whereas Crawford's more slick, he would not get caught. So if Crawford doesn't get caught with any of his hard shots, I think Crawford wins the fight easily.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. I just think that I'm leaning towards Crawford to win the fight just because I think that
because
the timing
I'm
is
breaking
good.
I'm breaking it down in my head now, and I'm thinking, okay, when you break it down, what's the only thing that Crawford's got to Canelo?
Yeah.
I mean, Canelo's got over Crawford. Power. Take the power away, it's a mismatch.
I agree.
I don't see no one running. I think there's going to be trying to earn the respect. I think Crawford will win the fight on points.
Right.
I think he will take a lead, and then I think he'll defend that lead as Alvarez tries to knock him out. Could become open and get caught with some big shots himself, but knowing Alvarez, the toughness of him, the way he boxes, he doesn't take too many shots usually. He's going to try and walk Crawford down. I think Crawford gets an all early points and then sort of coast the rest of the fight.
Obviously, Terence Crawford is moving up to a weight class he's never been in. He's arguably moving up 3 weight classes. He did a pit stop at 154, right? Put your phone down, Barack. so Barack will send it to Canelo. Obviously, that's leading up to who I'm going to pick. But I think that the size difference isn't going to be a factor like most people think, because Canelo is small for his weight, for that weight class. Yeah. He's a small guy, shorter than Bud, shorter arms. He's his advantage is he's been there longer, right? Yeah. And this is Bud's first fight. But I think because of Canelo's output as of late, how many punches he throw, he picks his shot, he doesn't throw more than 2-punch combinations, I think it's going to be a great matchup for Terence Crawford because he throws in between the shots.
Wins?
Hold on, I'm about to
I've got to go break. The plan is this. They just got too much fuel.
Hey, listen, we're going far. We're going all the way to the UK, buddy. All right? I think Bud will upset Canelo Alvarez and win a unanimous decision. I said it first here, never before.
Nobody cares. First of all, I don't even say it in private who I think's going to win, because I really, truly feel that this is 50-50. He just named some advantages that Canelo has. But also, Bud is very, very skillful, and he's a dog, and he doesn't know how to lose. Yeah. I just can't tell who's gonna win. I think Canelo has the power to hurt anybody.
Such a sucker. Scared to give a prediction.
But I also think Terence always finds a way to win. No, I didn't even tell you who I think's gonna win. You get what I'm saying? I don't know.
My only concern is that Terence Crawford is doing a lot at the moment, traveling different countries, loads of PR concerns. Is that going to take away from him come fight night?
You only need about 10 weeks to get ready for a fight. He's in Colorado now. He has enough time.
Okay. But first of all, he's never out of shape. He's always in the gym.
I see him in Turkey last week or the week
before.
Let
me just quickly message Canelo.
I already texted. Don't worry about it.
He's going to retire soon.
He blocked you anyway.
It's interesting because I think that the only dynamic that makes this fight competitive, in my opinion, is the difference in weight class. I think Canelo has been for a while a diminishing fighter. Call it age, call it whatever other things you want to call it. But I just think that, the only reason he's even still around at this level is because he's avoided his top contenders in his weight class, so he's been able to still remain champion at that weight class. And now, being champion at that weight class, it has sort of brought up this big opportunity to fight a smaller, excellent world champion in Terence Crawford. So I think when it comes to the levels of boxing, just straight from boxing perspective, I think Crawford is head and shoulders above Canelo. But, they do make weight classes for a reason. Canelo is still very strong. He's a good body puncher, and he's a bigger guy naturally. So that does bring a bit of a risk to the table. I think Crawford can win the fight. I just wonder whether he can get a decision. That's always the question with Canelo, right? Can Canelo get a decision? I mean, can Crawford get a decision over Canelo? Can anybody get a decision over Canelo? We know Bivol did, but Bivol essentially won a 10-2, 11-1 fight, and they barely gave it to him.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
So that's.
Paulie, there's a lot made of, jumping up 2 weight divisions. We saw Sugar Ray Leonard do it against Marvin Hagler, and the greats can actually do that, can't they? And when you see them head to head, actually, Terence Crawford, he's filled out very, very well. And you're right, if it comes down to just weight divisions, because I think that Terence Crawford is head and shoulders above, as does Simon as well when it comes to boxing IQ and ring craft. But I go, when you look at it, and we're all talking about the weight division, that could be the factor. I don't see it being a factor.
Over the course of 12 rounds, I think it can be. If this is not like a street fight where it lasts a couple of minutes and then you're done anyway. Over the course of 12 rounds, I think it can be. But where I do agree with you, Spencer, is can Canelo track down Crawford in a way where he makes it physical, he makes it a bit tougher physically, and that's where I start to wonder. Okay, Crawford's boxing IQ may be so superior that it could be a different level, and it could affect him in a positive way, and Canelo may not even really be able to get to him, and that's where you start to think, okay, Crawford's boxing IQ may make it to another level.
How do you see this one turning out?
Man, I have mixed feelings. I have mixed feelings, and emotionally, I'm very happy that the fight is happening because it's a great fight for both fighters. Initially, I thought maybe Canelo didn't have the hunger to go out there and really try to keep Bud off him or try to go at Bud, When I heard he had Jerron Ennis in camp, it made me realize that he really is trying to prepare for Bud because Jerron Ennis is probably the only other person that can really logically and realistically fight left-handed or right-handed, which is what he's going to see from Bud. That lets me know that Canelo's taking it serious. If Canelo's taking it serious, it's going to be a much harder fight for Bud than I anticipated. I still think Bud has the skill to beat anybody on any night, but so does Canelo. So this makes it a much more intriguing fight for me. It's hard to really pick a winner now. I was kind of leaning more toward Bud in the beginning, but now I see that Canelo's taking it really serious. It's a little bit harder because Canelo has been at that weight for some time. Bud's just not coming to that weight. So Canelo is comfortable in the weight. Bud is comfortable in the ring. That being said, it's just going to be who can be most comfortable that night. And I don't know who that's going to be right now.
It's going to be intriguing.
Problem with this fight is it is just a fabulous boxing matchup and one with all sorts of curiosity between two superstars. The Ring magazine's dedicated the entire magazine, but this is boxing. It's hardcore boxing. I think Canelo is known. I think Canelo, obviously the Mexican machismo that holds all the super middleweight titles, nearly 70-odd fights. He's been phenomenal. I think he's 35 now. But for Terence Crawford, he has definitely gone under the radar. 4-weight world champion, 41-0, 31 knockouts, a southpaw who's got IQ and speed and craft. I think it's a fabulously interesting matchup, the two of them, because you've got the big guy, the strong, super middleweight, really, really cultured, wonderful fighter in Canelo. But is he just slightly, ever so slightly, fine margins past his peak? And you've got Crawford, who needs this fight as his coming out party. The big news, it's on Netflix, so he'll get the attention. Can Crawford do it? It's a huge step again in weights, but I think he's got the speed, and I think he's got the know-how, I'm sure we'll talk about it more next week, to cause problems for Canelo, and I think that he could win it on points.
You know, we've got a super fight, and I think it's appropriate to bill it that way. We've got Crawford versus Saul Alvarez, massive fight. How much are you looking forward to this one, Paul?
A lot. It doesn't happen all that much, as you said before, with the landscape of boxing recently with the Saudis and the investment. We are seeing a fair bit more of it, but you don't see two greats fighting each other too often nowadays in boxing, and I consider both of these modern day greats, let's say, not necessarily of all time, but unbelievable fighters. I feel that obviously we probably didn't expect this because of the gap in weights, but
yeah.
We've seen from footage and from clips and from people talking on a grapevine that Crawford is handling the weight gain not too badly, but phenomenal fight between two great fighters, in my opinion. I'm really looking forward to it.
We're both going for Crawford, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I think that, you know, this jump up in weight, there's been a lot made of that. Both guys have come up through the weight divisions. I know Canelo is now a developed super middleweight, but Crawford does have the size, the speed, the mobility, you know, and he boxes as good from southpaw as he does orthodox. And I think if you add all those little things into it, because look, we're talking about top level boxing here, and I think that Crawford just has the edge. I think he does, you know, I think he pulls off a memorable victory, because every now and then you get a great fight that comes along in your era. Crawford is that guy right now, for me. You know, I think he's a standout. I know he's been around a long time, and people look at his age, etc., etc. And Madrimov last time out, yeah, he didn't look particularly good and struggled through that fight in stepping up, you know, in weights. But I just think timing is everything.
Neither did Canelo against William Scale, though, did he?
Yeah, no, but Canelo has adjusted his style now, where he's loads up single shots with everything. You can't do that against Crawford.
I can see every
argument. You've got to
argument.
punch with him a little bit.
I can see why, because Crawford doesn't put a foot wrong. Everything he showed me, and he's rose to the occasion. I thought the Spence fight was a little bit underwhelming because maybe Spence wasn't at his usual best, but Crawford didn't know that, and all he did was turn up and beat the best version of him. On the night, watching that fight, I felt we might not see Crawford raise his game to that level again, because I think they're just the perfect nights where you finally put to bed who's the best in that division. But this is a different kettle of fish, and I think the weight difference and the experience will be a little bit too much of a jump.
Where are you, Adam? I mean, I spoke to you the other day about it and mentioned the fight that he had with Errol Spence, and you reminded me of the fact that this was the Errol Spence post the car crash and not the same fighter. So it was comparing not necessarily the way I wanted to compare it. Where are you on the Alvarez-Crawford fight? I think you're going down the Alvarez route, aren't you?
Yeah, I think you've got a great big one versus a great little one.
Yeah.
I think that there's been moments in certain fights where Crawford has struggled, like with Sean Porter and with Kavalauskas, and I was there for that fight, where he had to out-psych them and impose Crawford's got such a dominant will, and he's such a great world-class hustler when he's in that ring, that he can do things to psychologically gain little control of moments against very, very good world-level fighters. But when you're talking about Canelo Alvarez, you're talking about someone that's probably got the best ring IQ out there. He's the biggest guy in the fight. I think naturally there's a stone between them.
Are we seeing a decline in Alvarez?
We will certainly find out in this fight, where you could say, well, is it a bit like Hagler when he fought Leonard?
Yeah.
You could say that, but that was off the back of wars against John Mugabe and Thomas Hearns, whereas Alvarez hasn't been dragged into the wars. And what he had last time out was a very well-built, strong, athletic guy running away from him who didn't want to fight. And that's hard. So you can't judge him off that. When you look at the body of work and the people that they fought and how the fights have played out, I don't think there's a logical argument to go with Crawford when you compare those. One thing Crawford does, and Spencer said it, he's brilliant. He looks identical whether he's orthodox or southpaw.
Right.
It's like he's in a mirror and it's flipping one way. He looks no different. His rhythm, his balance, and his punch selection is exactly the same from either
like
stance.
Hagler, who you mentioned then.
But And what he does is when he feels that he's not getting the control he wants from the orthodox position, he immediately goes southpaw. And that is enough to put a lot of very, very good fighters back in their box to get control. That won't work with Canelo because if you look at him against any southpaw, he knows what to do against every single style. And I just think that Alvarez has seen so many moments at the highest level against dangerous fighters, slick fighters, that I just think I can't see Crawford being able to stay away from the danger that Canelo poses.
Crawford, though, is exceptional at range, long range, and in the pocket as well. So what I'm saying is, he is the more effective at range, and he comes in. He's got great shot selection on the inside as well, and he actually switches on the inside as well, which for me will be the difference between the two. Because I just think it's going to be.
Question about that. So when you say he's the most effective at range,
yes, absolutely.
What range are we talking about?
We're talking about long range. I said when he can close that gap, gets on the inside, but that moment when you're coming into range, he may just switch it off there, throw his opponent off. It's just fractions we're talking about here, and that is the difference for me between him and Canelo. Canelo is a little more one-dimensional at range than Crawford is, and I just think that the extra speed with Crawford will be enough to get him over the line.
I disagree again. I think Canelo's subtle skill set of how he pressures fighters and finds position is as good as Julio Cesar Chavez. He's as good as Chavez Senior.
The distance
and it's one thing sort of looking at it aesthetically, well, he does that at distance. It's the things we can't see from the side that happen in there. And I just think that I find it hard not to see Canelo landing.
How good is Crawford? How good is Crawford?
Exceptional.
He's a great world champion.
Right.
Do you think who implements that game plan and that style, who can get off with that, would be the difference between winning and losing in this one? Or do you see it as clear cut? You think you
For me, a big question is how Crawford reacts when Canelo starts to land heavy shots.
Yeah, and we've seen no sign that he doesn't react pretty well when fighters land heavy shots like Madrimov last time when he had to ask himself questions and sort of figure things out, turn it around. What I'm saying is,
he's going to get hit in this fight. He's going to get hit harder than he ever has done before.
Absolutely, but we've seen no signs that he can't deal with those things.
At the level of power that he's faced, yes.
That's what's tipping it in my opinion towards Canelo always. Crawford's going to get hit in this fight. My two brothers have been in with Canelo, who have been in other big lumps, and you'd say his power is not amazing, but you know you're being hit. They're a light heavyweight and a big 154 fighter. This is 147, 154.
But he started at 140.
You know what I mean? Exactly.
Started at 140.
Stepping up to, and I think that will ultimately, as the conversation starts.
What did your brother say were the most effective attributes?
How he
from
closes the distance. Before you know it, he creeps his way in. Before you know, he's on top of you and he's in position to throw. And you think, how did he get there? And that's obviously added to all the other stuff, the body shots, to how he holds himself. His reaction time is topsy sets.
How good he was, Adam, was a sort of loaded question because you made a point about Alvarez has been in with many fighters that are very slick and very capable. In comparison-wise, who would you compare him having been in as slick as capable as Crawford?
Apart from Mayweather.
But Mayweather beat him.
Yeah, and
that's my point.
As a 23-year-old, had to learn that on the job.
Sure.
So if you want me to go through,
I'm just talking about the fact that I personally look at Crawford thinking he has the capability to win this fight. So does Spencer, and I'm just paring back your argument rather than just agreeing with it. You may well be right.
I think Canelo has seen. I think Canelo. I know that Canelo has seen way more at the elite level, at championship level, than Crawford has. He's seen many different, whether they're light heavyweight punchers in Kovalev or Bivol, or whether they're slick southpaws or a Billy Joe Saunders that's never hard to catch, never easy to catch.
Let's rephrase it. Has Canelo ever boxed anyone with the skill set of...
That's my point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take Mayweather out of the equation.
Take Mayweather out the equation.
Tell me another fighter that's got the skill set, the boxing IQ that Terence Crawford has.
Triple G?
He's not got the skill set in boxing IQ.
Or he's got phenomenal IQ as to how to land the most dangerous of...
Not to Crawford's level.
I rate Crawford. I don't think you got what. Remember when Roberto Duran fought Marvin Hagler, and Duran had more fight IQ than probably any fighter in history in that division.
But there was and he was so much better than Hagler in terms of skill set. But Hagler just applied himself on him. And that was, and just the physical size was enough to keep Duran back in his box and not win the rounds. And I just think that's going to happen in this fight. I think Crawford, if they were naturally both the same weight, we'd be having a completely different conversation.
Right, yeah. Is there any debates that if whoever wins this fight can classify themselves as pound for pound the number one?
Maybe if Crawford wins.
Yeah, if Crawford wins.
Maybe if Crawford wins.
And I've just been reading the big feature in the Ring magazine. They've got a whole Ring magazine that Turkey now owns, all on this fight, and it's really quite interesting to look through all the dynamics of how people first saw Saul Alvarez and what they thought of him to what they now see him to be. The fascinating thing is that the difficulty that most people would put to Terence Crawford is the size element of things. But I think if he's going to fight Saul Alvarez, it's the right time to fight him now, because we're seeing elements of decline in Alvarez. Okay, the dance partners has been forced to fight against William Skell, didn't come to fight, did they? No. But Crawford, it'll be interesting to see how their styles gel and how the fight proceeds. But having watched Crawford like you have done, from the moment he landed on his shores to deal with Ricky Burns all those years ago, to the manner in which he dismantled Errol Spence and stepping up the weight classes, I'm in Spencer's camp. We're both in the same position, aligned, foolishly together perhaps, in the belief that Crawford will beat Alvarez. And I'd like to see him beat Alvarez, quite frankly. I mean, how do you think this fight is won and lost?
Yeah, I think this fight is won for Crawford by sticking to his boxing, which he does beautifully. From the outset, I thought Crawford would win this fight, simply because
you're in our game.
He's a great boxer, right? He switches from left to right effortlessly. He's a good stayer. He's got that spite that you need as a champion. What he's done has been done before, albeit many moons ago with Sugar Ray Leonard, when he moved up and boxed Donnie Lalonde from welterweight to super middleweight, but he stopped off in between that and boxed Marvellous Marvin Hagler. So that's probably a harder route even still, but I feel that it's a stone difference. It's not really that much, not when you look at the bigger picture. A stone in weight is a lot of weight, of course it is. And sometimes you don't even want to give away a pound in weight, but the fact that he's putting on a stone of pure muscle, he's going to be so strong for this fight. And what we saw when Crawford boxed Spence, it was a boxing masterclass. He needs a stellar performance like that. And
although some would say that the Errol Spence that went into the ring with Terence Crawford was an Errol Spence that came off the back of a car crash, wasn't quite the same fighter.
Well, I mean, listen, that's there to be. That was the case, that was the case. But Crawford still went in there and done an absolute beautiful.
Where are you on this, Dalton? Who'd you like for this fight?
I'm probably a little bit biased because I love Canelo. Yeah. I do think he's going to win the fight, but again, I won't be surprised if Crawford does it.
So what do you think of Paulie Malignaggi's comments? I mean, he was disparaging. You've heard a snapshot of it, but he was pretty much saying that Saul Alvarez has picked some of the fighters that he wants to fight, avoided the ones that he doesn't want to fight, and has let a lot of people down in doing it.
Yeah, you can see where he's coming from, but they also said it about Mayweather. They always said, Mayweather got everyone at the right time, and I think you've just got to look at Canelo's accolades, what he's done, what he's achieved. You can't take nothing away from that. But same again, don't matter what you achieve, someone's always going to.
So where are you going? Are you going with Canelo?
I'm going for Canelo, yeah.